Let P of t be the percent of Americans under the age of 18 at time t. The table gives the values of this function in census years from 1960 to 2010. So notice t is the year and P of t is the percent of Americans under the age of 18. Compute the average rate of change of percent of Americans under the age of 18 with respect to time over each time interval. We're told to round to the nearest 100th place value. And then we also want to estimate the instantaneous rate of change of percent of Americans under the age of 18 for the year 1990. To begin, to determine the average rate of change, we determine the slope of the line for this first interval when t equals 1970 and t equals 1990. Let's set this up on the next slide. So again, to find the average rate of change over the first time interval, we need to find the slope of the line passing through the points 1970, 31.8 and 1990, 25.8. Notice we obtain the function values from the table. And now we know the slope of the line equals the change in y divided by the change in x. In our case, the change in the function value, P of t, divided by the change in time in years, which indicates the average rate of change over this time interval is the difference of 25.8 and 31.8 divided by the difference of 1990 and 1970, which equals negative 0.3. Which means on average, from 1970 to 1990, the percent of Americans under the age of 18 is decreasing by 0.3% per year. And now we repeat the process for the next time interval, which is from 1980 to 1990, which means now we need to determine the slope of the line passing through these 2 points. The average rate of change equals the change in the function value divided by the change in time, which is negative 0.39. Which means on average from 1980 to 1990, the percent of Americans under the age of 18 is decreasing by 0.39% per year. The next time interval is from 1990 to the year 2000. The average rate of change equals the slope of the line passing through these 2 points, which indicates the average rate of change is equal to negative 0.15. And finally, the last time interval is from 1990 to 2010. The average rate of change equals the slope of the line passing through these 2 points, which are 1990, 25.8 and 2010, 24. The average rate of change over this time interval equals the difference of 24 and 25.8 divided by the difference of 2010 and 1990, which equals negative 0.09. And now let's look at the last part of the question. We're asked to estimate the instantaneous rate of change of percent of Americans under the age of 18 for the year 1990, and we want to include the proper units. To estimate the instantaneous rate of change for the year 1990, what we'll do is average the average rates of change over the time intervals from 1980 to 1990 and 1990 to the year 2000. Which means our estimate will be the sum of negative 0.39 and negative 0.15 divided by 2, which equals negative 0.27. To help understand the meaning of this, though, it's helpful to write it as a fraction. And remember, negative 0.27 indicates the change in the percent of Americans under 18, and the 1 indicates the change in time in years. Which indicates the meaning of our estimate is, for 1990, the approximate instantaneous rate of change is negative 0.27% of Americans under the age of 18 per year. Another way we can state this is that in 1990, the percent of Americans under the age of 18 is decreasing by approximately 0.27% per year. I hope you found this helpful.